Hello, hello, brothers and sisters. How are you doing? I hope everyone is doing very well. Um, you remember last time in um, self-teaching Java coding topic, I have recorded, you know, the very basic and the first things how to install, download and install the necessary IDEs and software so that you can start teaching yourself. That was a very important video that I hope you have all watched that video. Uh, so today, this is part two video for Java beginners. The purpose here is you might be teaching Java yourself. You can teach yourself. So I'm going to guide you with some basic topics so that you can further research and, further, advance yourself in coding Java. Now, let us do our second video on how to teaching yourself coding Java. So today, we're going to start from the very elementary things like what is variables, what is a variable in Java, what is a variable in Java. So a variable, okay, let me open the notepad, I think, so that I can write some things in notepad. So our today's topic is not only, some topics like now we will see what is a variable. Variable. What is a variable? Java. So it is very important for coding. You have to, understand this concept. So what variable is in Java. So you have to understand these concepts before you go further in Java, studies. So variable in Java, the variable is a data container. You can say a box, a variable is like a box or like container, you use to store some things like some data values, your data values during Java program execution. You assign a variable type, and then you see the result. So as I said, it is a variable, is a box, right? A kind of container or a box. So you can say it is a memory location. You have data, but for that data, uh, for that the data name, you have a memory location. That is what we call it, the variable. The variables have, there are many types of variables, but we are gonna look three of them. The three types of variables. The first variables are, we call them local variable. We'll see in coding actually. Local variables. Local variables. The second are the other. The, so local variables and also instant instance variable and also the third we'll see is static. So these are the variables, the main variables. We'll see the containers for data type, the memory location in memory, the name of, something in a memory location, to the box, and in that box you put, some values, so that you can manipulate other time. That is what the variables are. So variables in a program, they are very, very important. But you have to know two things in terms of variables. You have to understand two things, two actions in terms of variables. First, what you do to use the variables in Java program. Yeah, you have two steps to follow. You have two steps. So, two steps to use variables. The first step is, we call it, I'll show you in code. First step, what we have to do is variable declaration. Variable declaration. Variable declaration is one. The other is, we call it variable initialization. Variable initialization. Variable initialization. So these are very important things. So the types of variables, we'll see what local variables are, what instant variables are, what static variables are. And also in this, what does, variable declaration means? What does, variable initialization means. So we'll see this. So how to declare variables in Java? That's what we are gonna see. So we'll see the type of variables, what type of variables, how they work in code. But before that, it's good to see how to declare variables. Declaration, right? Declare. So the declaration, okay, for declaring variables, how to do. So I'll show you that in a code also. How do we declare variables in Java? Yeah. So we must specify the data type. What data type? And then, you give the unique name for that data type, that variable. You give, for instance, if I say data type, I'll show you what data types are. They are, integer, we call it int, and string, we call it, string, double, long. There are many, 8 primitive data types, and also other reference data types like string. And there are, some data types you will see in the future. So we'll include in our lecture here. I can say guidance. So int is data type, integer type, name. For instance, name. For instance, let me say int count. For instance, int count, or int numbers. You can say int numbers, or int, anything count is, I think, very good. Int count. Then you put semicolon here. So what did we do here? You declare the variable int count. You declare a variable. So count is just the name. This is data type. Int is data type. Count is just the name. So you can declare in any string, in a string reference or any string data type, for instance, a string, any name, string, a string dog, for instance, string dogs or animals. You can say animal. Just animals name, right? String animals. So later on, this is just a container, just a container. So all the names should be the unique names. They don't should be similar or resemble to one another. So these are type. We call it. These are type. Int type. This is string type. String type. This is a numbers type. Integer type. Number type. This is character sentence type. In the double quotation, you put in the double quotation always string. We have seen that, and here int count is just we declared. That is how to declare the variables. So if once you understand this, then I'll give you an example, coding example, and then you will understand it very well. So this is it looks very silly or small. For instance, for declaring, we can say there are many. Let me give you another example. There are data types, right? Different data types. Just I have indicated here int and string, but also there are char, character, for instance. Char data type. This is characters like P. You see, you have declared it. Character P. Character is a data type, but P is the name of the variable. It's a unique name of the variable, so you have declared it. That is how to declare. And let's do more, like float. Float is just a precision, float, float number. Or you can say anything, float number. It's something, pi, anything, any name, but it's unique. So these are, the float type data types. I'm not gonna describe what data types are because we have session for data type. The next session is our data type. So double. You can say D. Here you can see F. Let's or F or D. You see, you have declared int, string, char, float, double. There are many more, some more data types. So data types plus names are the declaration of variables. Okay, don't forget this for anything in the future. It's very important in coding. You have to first, you have to be careful about these small things. It looks small, but it has a big, impact in coding. So how to initialize variables is the second concept. initialization in the second concept, right? How do we initialize the variables? So what does it mean, initializing? Initializing means just giving a value instead of just name. For instance, here, int count, right? Let's take int count. If you give for count, let me come here down and just use the above count here. Count is equal to 50. For instance, yeah, the box, this box has the variable. This is the variable name, right? The variable name. This box has 50 counts. 50. What do you mean container? The container name is count. So holding the value of 50, it holds the value 50. Count, it holds the value. This is a box or this is a container, but holds 50, the value of 50. The value 50. That is, initialization. You initialize with the name of the variable and the value, any value. Yeah. For instance, we said float, right? Float. For float, we gave about f, right? F. So f is equal to, f is equal to, 6.231. This is, all the, like this is float. This is float type, 6.231. You understand the precision from the math class, precision, 6 precision, and also 15 precision, like double. If you see double, D, right? The value of D double is equal to, so double is equal to like 20 points or 30 points. So any amount like 4, 5, 6. You see? So this is, so don't forget using semicolon here when you are initializing. When you are initializing, don't forget using. So these are the names. It's double. So the difference of float and double is float and double. It's just the precision point. This is 6 or 7 precision point. This is 15 precision, the place. So that's the difference. One is the bigger. So this is how to initialize the variables. I think you are clear with, right? So you can also combine variables with declaring. Combine. Let's combine these two, declaring and initialization. Combination. Third is, let's say, combination. Or, okay, you can just make combination of both. Combination of both. What do we mean combination of both? When we say combination of both, declaration and initialization. This example is very easy, right? How do we do that? For instance, int, okay, small letter actually, int count, you see, int is the data type, the name, the unique name, and the value. The value was 50, right? Already, we combined it. We combined was declaration and initialization. This is how you can use encoding. Int count is called 50. This is how you use in your coding. Here even float f, for instance. Let's see. Float f is equal to 5.234, or like things like that, or double t is just this d is the name. Now 5 point, 5 or 7 the number. Okay, so the string is the same. You combine string animals, animal, or string animal dog. You can say string animal, string. This is just the above example. String animal is equal to, you have to put dog. You see, you have to put it in a quotation when it is a string. Don't forget that. Okay, so this is how to combine post declaration, variable declaration, and variable initialization. So this is very important to understand this at the beginning, from the very beginning. It's very important as you teach how to code. These are the very primary things to understand. So we have seen types of variables, right? I've been trying to types of variables, right? We have seen already. I have listed already types of variables, local variables. The first is local. So local variables. So this variable. Okay, types of variables. The first is local variables. So what is local variables? They are declared inside the body of a method, Just don't forget this. They are they are declared inside the body of method. Inside the body of method. I think what methods in Java will see this because it is very big. So later on, when we discuss method, then you understand the concept here. So they are declared inside the body of method. So we'll see how they work. For instance, as for instance, okay, let me show you an example, coding example. Okay, here I think I need to create a project. First, let me create a project, new Java project. Variables variables coding. Just any name, you can give any name for your products, doesn't matter. Okay, you have here source folder. The source folder, just create your package. So package, say com dot variable var coding. Okay, just finish. You see you have your package here. Now let's let's create. Okay, let's create class. Over here, go to new. So class, any class you can create. For variable tutorial, whatever. Naming convention, you see naming convention. Var, another word you have to use in the middle, like that. Tutor. Okay, now let's create a class here. You see public, this is workspace. Now in this workspace, let me create the variables under this class, all the classes. If you say we are starting from local variable, right? Local variable. But before that, here you have to create the method. You have the method, void, public void, or anything you can say. Void. Void means no return. The method is no return. So, void method. Anything just to show here. This is a method, one of the methods. Or you can say public. Okay, public. Int, public int, any method. Speak. So public string speak. Or talk. This method, or sense talk. To make any action, you have to use the method. This is method, we call it. So this is the method, right? Okay. So local variables means when variables are local variables, for instance, let me declare local variables here. Int and name, this is type, and give name for this variable. X is equal to any number. 10. See, we created this inside this method. When we create inside the method, the variable is called what? It is local variable. This is local variable. This is local variable. Is it clear? I hope it is clear. When we are creating inside the method, so we have created here, right? We declared and we initialized. We declared and initialized this variable. So we combined it. So it is local variable. It's local variable. Okay, that is what we have been saying, right? Check this. So you see here, types of variables, local variables. They are declared inside the body of method. they are declared inside the body of method. What does that mean? It is inside this method. This is the body of method. So when you declare your variable here, it is a local variable. And the other variables are, as you have seen, okay. So types of variables, local. The second is instance variable, instance. Let's see what instance variable means. So instance variables are, you don't have to use a static keyword. It is different from static, it's different. You don't use a static keyword. Static is keyword actually. You don't use this static keyword. They are declared outside any method. Method could be constructor or block, outside. So these variables are they are very specific to each instance of a class. Instance variables are instance of class, specific to each instance of class. A class means here. Let me show you here. Instance variables. Okay, let me show you from the code perspective. This is class, right? This is class. So where do you declare and initialize in class level? So that's why we say it's specific to each instance of the class. We call it instance variable. They are outside the method. Here, this is outside the method, right? So here you have constructors also. You can create constructors, but they are outside constructors, outside of constructor, outside of block itself, code block. So you will see those, especially what I say code block, what does it mean? You can find out what code block means and what does constructor mean. We have been working on coding. I think you understand that. And also you have method. So they are declared outside any method, any constructor, or any block. So they are specific to class. Specific to the class. So what do we mean? We can create them here and inside the class, not inside the method, but outside the method, but here. Here is inside the class. For instance, if I say int, integer, give a name, any name, integer or int data is equal to any number, like 11. Okay, you see here? We call it instance variable. Instance variable. Inside the class, but outside the method and also outside the constructor, outside the block. So you can say here we declare them outside the method, constructor, and block. Right? They are specific to a class, right? That is specific to a class. These are called instance, instance. Instance variable. It's instance variable, right? So we declare them outside method constructor and so this is the method, but we declare outside method, but inside the class. And what is the difference between the third one? The third, this static. So, local variables, we declare this inside the method, right? But these outside the method and outside constructor, outside the block, right? What about static variable? What is static variable? So static variables, they are, you initialize only one time. When your class is loading, class loading, class loader, this vocabularies maybe you may be strange for they may be strange for you. Class loading. So you can Google and what class loading means, okay? If you are not understanding something, so try to work on something. I cannot explain everything because this is just a guidance, not a very detailed, study tutorial. It's not detailed tutorial, but I'm guiding. Very important. You can be able to code by yourself. You can teach yourself in a very very main area, basic area. So the time of class loading. Class loading means, what do we mean class loading? Class loading is pre-execution of your code. Pre-execution of your code. Before you even execute or before you run your code, it is a time of class loading. When you create, class loading. So that's what we call the class loading. At the time of class loading, that means before the execution of the program. Before the execution of the program it starts, After the program starts, then that's a different story. So they are also shared in all instance of class before any instance variables. Yeah. So you also do this static variable inside the class, but you have to use the word static when you declare. For instance, let's go to our IDE. So you can do it here inside the class, right? Inside the class, but you have to use the word static for static variable. Static int is equal to, static int, not is equal to, you need, other name, you need also static type, then int, static int, y, for instance, is equal to any number, give any number, 5 or 55, any number, doesn't matter. You see, we have now declared static variable. So how it is different from others? We can share this, in the class, in any class variables, but class instance, but we use static keyword. Is it static keyword? Static keyword, static int y is equal to 55. It's different from others, right? Here 1, 2, 3, 4. You have static, you have type, you have unique name, and you have value. But in terms of other, just you have type, name, and value. But here you have static type and value, type, and then name and value. So this is, we call it this one static variable. These are very important in your coding. So you have to know these variables. You have further research, okay? I just gave you the highlight. It's a good highlight, actually. You can understand what they are and what they do and how you can use in the code and what their functions. So these are variables, and without variables, there is no coding, right? Without variables, you cannot code in Java or in any other language. These variables, declaration, variable initialization are very, 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 very important. So very important. So this is a good example. I think I have already given you example, the code. Let me review this. Static variable is all class instance to share in all class instance. So it is inside class, but before execution of the code starts, just during the class loading. When the class is loaded, this class is loaded, you can declare and initialize static variable. It is inside the class. It uses static keyword. And it's the same here, especially it's inside the class. We declare them outside this method, outside constructor, outside the block, but they are inside the class, right? Instant variable. You don't use static keyword here. But local variable is different. You declare it inside the method. This is the method inside the method. So that's the difference. So you can easily master this just in this short period of. You can master this. It's not that difficult, actually. Yeah. So so we have discussed the type of variables. Now, I think another topic is data type. I was promising you to discuss about, data types, right? So what is data types? Actually, this is a data type here. Int is data type. Here int is data type. And also, let me go to our slide here. Int is data type. Float is data type. Double is data type. String is data type. So we are gonna see our second discussion point is data types. Data types. Why do we use data types? So what does data type means? So what is data type in Java? Data type in other languages, C++, C#, in other languages, data type is everywhere, right? Data type also in SQL Server, in databases, different databases. You remember var, varchar, char. There are many data types even in SQL or data type in Java. So these are different size types of values. In the variable, you store in the box. right? You store, we say the variables are the box, right? You store in that box. But that box had, just understand this, that box that you store the variable should have the size. Some of the sizes are very big, some of the sizes are very small, and some are very medium. But these data types are the size, different size and types of values. That can be that can be stored in the variable or identifier. So Java very much use these are very important things to code Java. Without data type, you cannot code. First you need to store, right? So they are specified. They allocate different sizes. For instance, int has different size, and I don't think I can just. I will tell you how much. The numbers to store numbers, data types. They are different. There are two types of data types usually: primitive data types and non-primitive data types. So we'll discuss this. Okay, primitive data types, and there are also, non-primitive, actually, non-primitive data types. Okay, non-primitive data types. So what's primitive data types, which include, integer, character, Boolean, and float. Integer data types. There are, primitive data types, non-primitive data types. I can list primitive data types here. Yes, let me list so that you can understand. Very good. So it's good to, so there are different data types, primitive data types, and also non-primitive data type. So non-primitives are like string, array, okay, string, so string, arrays, and etc. There are some other you can further research. Okay. So, but these are integer, numeric are integer. What's that? Numeric are integer, and what else? Integer, double, float data type, integer, double, float, and other, there are also short, integer, byte, short, int. There are many, byte, short, So there are many types, but this is just overview. I shouldn't go to each one of them. So primitive data types are predefined and variable with the Java language. They do not share with other primitive values. There are 8 primitive. I just mentioned 3 of them here. Long is another. Okay, but you can find out there are everywhere. You can Google it everywhere. These primitive data types are 8 data types. They are 8 in number, primitive data types. So you can find out. You have bytes, you have short, you have, int, you have long. This box, for instance, integer is just a box, right? So integer 4 bytes, 4 bytes storage. Double has, each one of them have their, storage. Byte has, for instance, another long. You see, long has how many? 8 storage, 8 byte storage, 8 byte. Int has 4, short has 2 storage byte. So you have also byte. Byte has like 1, just very small, storage, very small storage. So this is the storage. For instance, integer, like you can store maybe millions, billions in integer, billions, not trillions. If you want to store trillions, you may use long, many trillions to store. That's the storage, It's just storage in memory. So you have to study these data types. I shouldn't go each one of them one by one. So if you like, there is char, Unicode, short, 2 bytes, and int 4 bytes, long 8 bytes, float 4 bytes, double 8 bytes, Boolean. Boolean value is, it stores just false or true or false. That's the storage. It's one bit only. Char is 2 bytes. So this is what you have to remember. So the size is very important in data type. So you can teach yourself and further research on data types. So for now, I think we shouldn't. Let me give you some examples. For instance, in data type examples. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll give you for instance, yeah. Let's do here. Okay, let me give you some examples. For instance, let me have the main class. Let's create the main class here. New main class. Okay, class. Just main class. To here and create the main class. Okay, we will make these. Okay, for instance, if we int, let's see how much, the size of int is equal to, for instance, int is equal to c, or int a is equal to this int a int x. Int x, let's declare. You see here, it's possible to declare these, how many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 zero is okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. So the storage amount is okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 is okay, right? 10 is not holding, after 9, 0, it shows error. You see here? That's what I'm saying. It shows error. What does that mean? This is the limit of int. Int. The size of int is this. If you add another 0, or even number 1, you see? If you add 1, 0, then you see. So how many 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 billions. Integer holds billions. This is the size of int. The maximum size of int. Okay. Okay, now let's see. This is the maximum size of, right? Max int. Yeah, we're right. Let's see another. I said double, for instance, or float. Float f is equal to 2.12. Okay, see now. What about? Yes. Okay, 2.12345. You have to add f at the end. But let's see the precision point. It's 7, only 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 6 and f. Yes. What about 7 and f? Yes. 8 and f. Yes. 9 and f. Yeah. And 0 and f. 1. 2 f. 3 f. 4 f. 5. 6. Okay, now you see, even if you put F, you cannot, right? Okay, it has, the precision for float, you have precision. The limitation of float constants 2, 3 dot. You see there? Okay. Okay, you can put E because of, yeah. Okay, you have to put F. What about long? Let's see long. Long L is equal to the long. Okay, you see now? Long, the size of long is how many zeros? Yeah, just L. How many zeros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's also 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But there is difference, long and int. Long is a higher value, higher, like, even in between here, but they have 9, let me add 1 0 here. Yeah, it's showing you error. If you add 1 0, it's error. Why? The box is not enough. The long box is not enough for more than 9 zeros, right? And double is also the same. So there are, that is, for instance, byte. Let's say byte E is equal to, you see, um, and byte, yeah, you see, it's not working. Okay, so you can teach yourself, just Google the data types. There are 8 primitive data types, and there are Boolean, other non-primitives like string, Boolean, and other data types also. So you can check those. So further research, I'll give you an assignment. Just further research those. Those are the data types. Okay. I think it is good. It's very good. Yeah. Now we see the variables, but class and object. What about class and object? The primary things, class and object. Okay. Let me open this, and okay, already you have these. Okay, let's go further. So, class and object in Java. Class and object in Java. Class and object in Java. So before we go to this class and object in Java, just I'm guiding you, giving you an assignment to further research variables, all three variables, how they get used, and also data types. Go to both data types, 8 primitive data types and other data types, non-primitive data types. Go and Google and find out how the functionality of all data types and what the importance of data types. It's just a store, as I said. I was trying to, it has the limitation of holding different size of values, right? Different size of values. They are defined in terms of their value. Their value of size. Each have different size of value. Int is different, long is different. The float and double, they are, use precision point, decimal point you use for decimal, float and double. Long is, for big data, you use, that for very small for bytes. And int is most of the time for billions of entries, billions of numbers. So just try to teach yourself. I've given you the area, which area you have to work on. I've given you 2 things today. 1, variables. Study the variables, how to declare the variables, and how to initialize the variables, and initializing together. That's the combination. So once you understand this very well, it's basic, you are good to code. You are in the right track. Then, but before that, and again, also you have to understand what class is, what object is in Java. This is very, very, very important topic, because without class, there is no Java at all. Without object, there is no Java, right? Class and object. So what is class and what's object in Java? Yeah, class and objects in Java. These are very, very, very fundamental, and these are very, important components of Java. Object-oriented programming, not only Java, even object-oriented programming. Actually, not all programming use class, but some other programming languages use different. So, we'll discuss what a class is first. Class. Do you know blueprint? The blueprint. Do you have the idea about the blueprint? What the blueprint is? Class are a blueprint. Let's say blueprint in a building, right? In a building, you have the design of the building, right? The first thing the engineers does is what? Blueprint, right? Before they start building the physical building, what we call it design. They designed all the rooms, how many rooms, how many bathrooms, and how many, what color of the bedroom, what color of the living room, and how many, in how many, the hectares. sorry, what we call the square square meter. The square meter the building is gonna take. All those are blueprints, on paper. They just put on paper first. The design first. That is the blueprint, right? That is a set of instruction to build a specific type of object, any object. So what they put on paper, the design, the blueprint is a class. That is a class. So the real object, the real building, that takes place, the land. The builders, they build, they bring stones, bricks, and cements, and, woods and other, they bring and they start building that building, right? So that building, that real building, that physical building is an object. It's an object. In Java, it's the same thing. So that's why we call it Java is object-oriented programming language. It's object-oriented programming language, objects. So everything is about objects. The program, Java programming is all about the object. The real life entity is the object, right? Money is object, these papers are object, and wood is object. This object. The real life, what you see in real life, everything is object, right? What you taste, what you touch, what you see, that's object. So object is anything, any data in programming language. The class is just blueprint of the object, the blueprint of object. The object is the real world entity, the real life entity. Any entities, right? Yeah. So whenever you create class, right? Here, for instance, in this program, Go, public class main. Here, this is a class. In this class, you may define the methods in the class. You define methods, you define constructor, you define fields. For instance, let's go to this class. Okay, let's go to this class. Let's go to this class. This class, and let's just keep the class only here. The class only here. This class, this is a class. As I said, the class is just the blueprint, right? It is the blueprint. The class is blueprint. But the real building is object. The real life entity is object. Object is the real life entity. The real life entity. Okay. Right, there it is. But here you can fill the, for instance, for object. For objects, for field, yesterday you can see in YouTube my code, my mini project that I coded. For instance, I say a string, a string is of private yesterday string name. This is one field and another private int data type, right? Int salary. This is another field. This is data. name data, salary data, the amount of the money, that the real life data. Data is private, right? Data is private. This is data. This data is object. In other words, object. So object is the top. So the real life is what the object is. You have also method, right? Method, you can create method. Void, public, void, calculate. Public void, calculate, for instance. So this is a method. You can create this method. So in the class, what you have to do, this all is in class. This is in class. So class is the blueprint. The data is, the data is, or the object is the real life entity. Real life entity. So it's an instance of a class. It's instance of a class, an object. That's why we say object-oriented programming language. And properties. These are we call it fields or properties. You can say properties. We manipulate, we make use of this data in our coding. You can see my video yesterday. You can watch that video and how I use these fields in that code. So many things, when the, a name of anything, table, anything, dog, animal, these are all objects. So whenever you do coding, you are executing an object. Data, everything is all about data. So, Java objects, you have in Java there are, memories, memory spaces. We call those area different, heap, stack, memories, right? Those memory objects. This object always, you store any object, any programming object in heap. Or methods, for instance, methods and others, you can store it in, variables and other things. You store it in a memory called stack. There is stack, there is heap, that's memory. Divisions, there are different places. So that is the difference. A class is in object programming language, it is a blueprint, it's prototype. It defines the variables and the methods, right? It defines that. But an object is, in object-oriented programming language, it is very, in software objects. It's a real world objects. The life, that is what object is. So these concepts are very important, class and object. It's very wonderful concept. So you can further research, create, whatever that's object, dog, anything is top. What you see, what you touch, what you do in this world, everything is called object. You can make your class dog, and also your data members, your objects, your size, age, color, anything. You have methods. Eat, for instance, dog the object. The dog eats, for instance, it's eats method. Yeah. So you can check what it means and what functions, what does the class and the object. Already I have given you an example here. You see this field, this is an object, and this is the class. Of the class, this is an object, a real life object. The method, this is the method. It's part of the object. Okay. Yeah. I think that's enough. You declare, for instance, maybe I think very something that explain very well. For instance, if we say class dog, class dog. If we say class dog, then in class dog, you do the the variables, string, size of the dog, the age of the dog, and for instance, string, size of the dog, big size, small size, puppy. Yeah, you define. You have class dog, and also int age. What is the age of the dog? These are fields. These are objects of the dog class. See how the relation between class and dog, class and object. And you can say color, string color, color of the dog, right? The size maybe, big, small, age maybe, 20 years old, string, the color maybe black dog or white dog. Class is dog, but these are objects. I think it is clear. It's here it's clear. This code makes very clear. So class is, don't forget this. So class is just blueprint, and the object is, the field of the class, the properties of the class, and also the method is also an object. That is the real life entities, or data. The real life is what? Objects. So, good example, as I told you earlier, don't forget the blueprint of the building, the architecture of the building, the designing of the building on paper, that is blueprint. But everything is finished on the paper. But people, the architects, the engineers, build the physical building, using all the materials, right, needed. They put it on the land, and as you see the physical building, the growth of that building, all the rooms and roof and floor and everything. That physical building is called object. So don't forget. This explains what a class is and what the object is. Thank you very much for our today's part 2 lesson. Don't forget subscribing to my YouTube channel so that you can get very special, coding or guiding Java topics. So don't forget subscribing and sharing to others. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Bye.